adjustment day, Wednesday. So I appreciate you guys investing the time to come out tonight and hopefully learn a few things about retirement and real estate investing. So we want you guys to kind of sit back, relax. Here's going to be the format for the night. We'll make it real brief. Hopefully get you guys out of here before 8:30. So as always, we do a tandem with retirement planning and real estate investing. I think those things go hand in hand. It's not one or the other. They're together. So Jason Matthews, who's my financial planner, is going to get up here and talk to you a little bit about retirement, financial planning. Then I'm going to get up here and talk about the fundamentals of multifamily investing. And I'm going to condense my usual presentation so that I can go into a little bit, about 15-20 minutes, about what it takes to get your offer accepted. Right now, there's a lot of multiple offers, a lot of people getting outbid. There is no surefire magic formula to get your offer accepted, but there are a few strategies, a few things you can do to give you the upper hand against the competition. As things begin to heat up, again, in Bay Area real estate, we got to give ourselves a chance to be successful as opposed to just shooting from the hip. So with that being said, I want you guys to give a big round of applause for Jason Matthews.
Well, I'm glad you guys all came out tonight with us. Like Steve said, this is my real estate agent. I'm his financial advisor. We go hand in hand. So whenever you think about retirement planning, you always want to look at how to build up cash flow. And what we're trying to do is show you a little bit of what the hurdles you might face when you're planning for retirement. But at the same time, how we can help you push you into financial well-being and help you build wealth and grow and sustain it with real estate, with proper retirement planning you might have for work or you have for yourself. So let me just give you guys a little background about myself. I've been doing retirement planning since September 2004. I was with New York Life for about 5.5 years ago, for about 5.5 years. And about 4.5 years ago, I opened up my own brokerage firm where we specialize in tax strategies and retirement planning, which now we're having a great year so far. So right now, I just want to talk to you guys about the market, not just the real estate market, but the Dow Jones market and the economy. Right now, everything's heating up just like this room is right now. Right now, real estate's up. The Dow Jones is up over 13% for the year, which means now it seems like the recession is finally over. People are starting to make money again. Markets are making money. It's a great time. Also, for once, which we have not seen in a while, the dollar is finally rising right now, which means this. Interest rates are starting to go up. How many of you guys applied for a mortgage recently over the last 69 days? And you must see rising mortgage rates, which means rising savings accounts. So if you're a borrower, it's not so good. If you're a saver, it's finally getting a little bit better for you. But a couple things are kind of bad right now. Because of the dollar rising, gold now has hit a low for the last 3 years, hit today. So the gold is finally going down, which means that now people are feeling like the dollar's getting stronger. People not worried about gold and inflation so much. And at the same time, the GDP was lower than expected at 1.8% last quarter. So those are just a couple of things, even though we're having great times and everybody's making tons of money in either the stock market or real estate market, these are some concerns that we should have. Now, I always tell people, when we look at retirement planning, it's not how much money that something's worth. It's about how much cash you put in your pocket on a monthly basis to make sure that your food is always in your pocket, you have this cash flow on and on and on. How many of you guys ever heard of a lottery winner go bankrupt? Raise your hand. Because he had a lump sum of money and that lump sum just dwindled down because he doesn't have that cash. And it's easier to manage when you know every month you got 20 grand in your pocket compared to having $1 million bucks. That $1 million bucks would buy a lot faster than possible. Until it stops. Exactly. So there's 5 components when I'm talking about with people that you should look at when we do retirement planning. One thing is not saving enough, which seems like it's happening more and more in America. Sickness, a wrong approach to investing, debt, and the last thing is taxes. So let's talk about the first one right now. Not saving enough. Right now, 76% of Americans live in check to check, which means this. Today I get the money, tomorrow the money goes out, I have to work till that following week. If I don't get that check, if I get laid off, I'm in deep trouble. Or even worse than that, emergency happened. Roof caves into my home. Or your car breaks down. So now what do you have to do? Either you have to borrow money, which most people do, or you just got to suffer and figure out a way that you're going to survive. But what I always tell people, and what's the rule of thumb always is, for retirement saving, even for regular personal savings, you should automatically be saving 10 to 15% of your income just for retirement and for savings. So a total of 20% of your income should be saved at least for your long-term savings and also for your short-term savings when an emergency does happen. And always remember this, if your employees does not match, how many of you guys are self-employed? You have to save even more, because now, more and more now, companies are not matching. You don't have somebody to match your 401k plan or your 403b. So that money should go drastically up compared to what you usually do save. Also, the next thing, illness can kill your retirement. How many of you guys know somebody who had cancer in their working years? Right now, they say the number one reason that people do file for bankruptcy is because of disability and illness. And so they say right now, 1 out of 4 of us is going to be disabled for 90 days or more within our working careers. And with that, we also have to look at health insurance. How many of you guys are worried right now, especially your sole proprietors, are worried about healthcare costs coming going up next year? You're right. With the Affordable Care Act, people thought it was going to save them money, but right now it looks like everybody's rates are going to look like they're going to go up next year and over the next couple of years because of the Affordable Care Act. Now we have to insure people who previously could not be insured. And so with that, we're going to have to share the risk across the line. And the people going to be affected mostly with that is young males. So if you're between the ages of 25 and 50, you're going to pay, your health insurance rate is talking about going to double and triple next year. So I tell a lot of people you want to get ready for that because you're going to be feeling a huge glut in your health insurance premiums. And how many of you guys got older parents and they complain about going to the doctor all the time? My mother's a big person like, oh, today I got to pay a $40 copay. I got to get this test done and that test done. And one of the biggest things that as you get older you have to worry about is healthcare costs even more. You know, as you get older, we have to pay for prescriptions, co-pays, more prescriptions, more tests. And so when we do retirement, when we look at a retirement plan, you have to look at what's going to be with my health care. Who's going to pay for my health care? Because nowadays, more and more employers are not paying for your health care costs. So that money's going to have to come out of our own pocket. And if we rely on Medicare, Medicaid, how is that going to be effective for us if we retire 5, 10, 20 years from now, when everybody's talking about that's just going to roll our government's budget, and so it's going to have to change. So with those changes, we're going to have to properly plan. And last thing, like I said earlier, the number one reason people do file for bankruptcy in America is because of healthcare. You know, you go to the hospital today, how many of you guys know the overnight cost for staying on a hospital on average? The average cost right now is over $5,000 a night. So think about it. If you don't have health care, you stay there for 3 nights, that's $15,000 out of your own pocket. Just for staying in the hospital for 3 days. And that can kill a lot of people's savings. How many of you guys remember when gas was $1.50? I remember when I was in high school, I got my Kia Spectra, hatchback, had a stick, and my friends used to give me $5. I used to take him to where you go, and I used to drive around all weekend, feeling great. Now that $5 just give me a tank of gas, right? How many of you guys remember when coffee was 50 cents, right? You go to McDonald's or Starbucks, pay 50 cents. But now with Starbucks now raising the cost of the coffee last yesterday, right? So we have to remember that. And how many of you guys know when you get Snickers for $2 for $1? Right? Mine used to be paydays. We used to love paydays growing up. But all that has changed because of inflation. And one thing when you look at retirement plan, you have to look at inflation. Because inflation is one of the biggest eroders of wealth. So a lot of times when we look at how we're going to save, we just put all our money in the savings account. I just want to be safe. I want to be very safe. I want to put it in the bank. But right now, the bank is only giving you less than 1%. And inflation is over 3%. So you have to look at how can my money sustain myself without eroding just due because I was just too safe because of inflation. Right. And one of the biggest things I've been seeing over the last couple of years since I started in 2004, but I remember in 2008, this happened to a lot of people, is not being balanced correctly when the market crashed. Right? There was a lot of people who was over 60 who had all their money in the stock market. And then in October when that 2008 hit, their wealth dropped 40-50% in a week. Right? Those people who just retired was like, man, I was about to retire, or I am retired, what I'm going to do next. Those same people are the same people you see working at Walmart saying, welcome to Walmart, welcome to Walmart. You think they really want to work at Walmart for the rest of their life just saying, welcome to Walmart? Or that guy at the golf course who just driving the buggy, who's bugging you because you're playing golf too slow, or you're having too much fun on the golf course? They do it because they need money. And the reason they need money is because they were not balanced enough in their portfolio. So oftentimes, if we're too aggressive, we can lose our money if we're too aggressive at the wrong time at the top of the market and all our money's wiped away. But if we're too conservative, we can lose all our wealth because we're just too conservative, just off of just inflation, by just giving all our money to the bank. And it kills me when I see somebody 70 years old who has less than 1% in the bank. And they have all the money there. And the banks still treat them like crap. And they think that money's going to last them forever, but everybody knows the age that everybody's seeing now, Mark, the fastest growing age group, is getting over 100. Right? More and more people every day is seeing that 100 mark. And as medicine gets better and as it evolves, more of us are going to be living to 100. You know, right? Now more of us are eating grass, grass-fed cows and chickens and, working out more. So as that time is, we're going to live till we'll be over 100 and healthy. So we have to make sure that we're balanced where we don't lose all our money being older by being too aggressive, but at the same time not being too conservative where we're losing it all to inflation. And the last thing, which I think is something that people are not talking about as much as we want to see in the future, which is taxes. Right? Oftentimes people say, Jason, I'm putting all my money in my IRA, my 401k plan, I'm going to be okay, I'll be straight. But what we forget is, when we retire, we can often be in the highest tax bracket because of a couple of things. One, our mortgage is paid off. So we don't have that interest, that interest as a write-off on our taxes. And better yet, even if you have not paid off for the house, more of your payments on your mortgage is paying towards the principal. So you don't get as much interest on your mortgage as a deduction. Also, your kids are out the house. You don't get that child tax credit that most people who have jobs rely on those two things the most than any other thing for the tax deduction on the taxes. But at the same time, we have no control about what tax rates are going to be in the future. Do they need them? We have a firefighter in the house. So.
Can you repeat that again? You said we have no control?
Yeah, we have no control of the tax rates, right? So right now, everybody says, well, my tax rate when I retire is going to be dropped down lower than what it is today, so I assume I'm going to be making less money. What we forget, though, is that tax rates could change anytime the government needs more money. And right now, we're looking at this situation in America where the government probably needs more money. Due to the war in Iraq, Afghanistan, Medicare, Medi-Cal, and taking care of all these baby boomers. Right now, people don't want to say this, but young people are going to have a hard time retiring the baby boomers because the baby boomers have been having just a great time with all the government assistance they have had over the years. And the people want to pay for are the younger people who are Generation X and Generation Y. So all these old people saying those people are a lazy group is not even necessarily true because they're going to be the ones who are going to have to pay for all the debts of their parents and their grandparents. Right? So what I always try to tell people is when you plan for your taxes, you want to make sure you're not looking at just taxes today like most of your CPAs do. Right? Most of the time when we talk to our CPA's sole job is to save us money on taxes today. But his plan is not to save us money 10, 20, 30 years down the road when we live at that point in time in our lives. Right? And just to show you how tax rates can change without us even having control. If you look at it, taxes really started in 1913, right? And this is what the Tea Party complains about. That taxes was not first forced on us until 1913, right? Due to the Civil War and the cost of the Civil War, right? So if you look at it throughout times, tax rates do go up. They went up during World War I, they went up during World War II, and Reagan, we had a lot more taxes then. So, I'm not partisan, but when people talk about lowering taxes were a lot higher when we had Reagan in office than we had with Clinton and everybody else. But since then, tax rates have drastically dropped down, even during times of war. And if you guys look at any time in times of war, we actually pay more in taxes. As Americans, we voluntarily pay more. How many of you guys remember those little posters you might see in your history books in the 1940s where people bought government bonds? Back then, people sacrificed for World War II. People recycle more, they have their own garbage, and they paid more taxes, right? And so when JFK, one of the reasons he said, don't ask what the country can do for you, what can you do for your country, he was also making it as a tax standpoint for increased taxes for everybody, right? So the question that we're going to come down the road, either Democrat or Republican, is what are you going to do for your country when they need more money from you with all our debt issues? So here's a couple of things you can do to diversify your taxation. And I don't tell everybody to put money in tax-free instruments to avoid taxes. But one thing is you can contribute to a Roth IRA. If you make over $110,000, or 110 or below single, you put away $5,000. If you're over 50, you put $6,000 away into a Roth IRA. Second way to do it is you can convert your Roth IRA. The great thing about converting your Roth IRA is you convert your whole amount. But remember this, if you're below 59.5, and you convert your IRA to a Roth IRA, you don't have to pay taxes on the conversion portion out of your own pocket. Not out of your IRA, but out of your own pocket if you're below 59.5. So if you don't have that money in savings, say you switch $100,000, your tax is going to be about $25,000. So get ready for that. You're going to come out of your savings out of your own pocket. The third thing is cash value life insurance, which could be used also, which after long periods of time can build up for tax-free income. And last thing, but not least, is municipal bonds, which I'm not big keen on because I feel like the state and counties have a lot of debt. I think they're messing around with the books still, and I don't think eventually we're going to have to pay a lot of the debts that the city and counties and the state are going to pay for. But they're not reported yet, and you're going to have more cities defaulting. You hear about the pension issues you have right now in Stockton, and I think more and more cities are going to hear about that. You hear that in the city of Oakland right now. Nobody's mentioning 2 years when the city of Oakland have to pay more on the debt. What's going to happen to their municipal bonds at that point? And how's it going to affect the city? Is quality of services going to be going down? Their bonds might not go up, and you're going to hear more cities filing for bankruptcy in the next couple of years. What's that?
And that's a default on the bond.
And that's a default on bonds. And you can see that, you're going to see that more and more with cities, I feel, in the coming 5-10 years. Especially right now, people don't really look at it. How many of you guys are familiar with CalPERS? Right? CalPERS is the biggest pension system in the United States. One thing about CalPERS is the way that they recognize their investment portfolio is they assume an interest rate for the last 15 years, even on down years. They have yet to include 2007, 2008, and 2009 investment portfolio, which dropped drastically at those years during the Great Recession. And with that, when it's to report those, they're going to have to tell the cities, since we have bad years, you need to pay us more. And the city's going to either have to raise taxes for everybody, or still going to have to affect the bonds. So that's why I tell people, after you have enough money in your savings, you got your health care taken care of, right? You have enough disability insurance, and you have your emergency fund, you should have 5 buckets for your retirement plan. Your first bucket is your guaranteed money bucket. And your guaranteed money bucket is your Social Security, if you're old enough to have it, and your pension, if you're lucky enough to have an employer that has a pension. How many of you guys have pensions here? Right? You guys are great, lucky, right? The second bucket is going to be your taxable accounts. Your taxable account are your 401k plans, your IRAs, your 403bs, your 457s. All your taxable account is the money that was tax deductible from the very beginning. It grows tax deferred, so you never pay taxes on that money. But when you retire, you're going to pay taxes on that money, right? Your third bucket is going to be your tax-free bucket, which is your Roth IRA, your Roth 401k plan, which more and more employers are providing, which I love that they are providing because there's some great perks with that. And I always recommend if your company is matching you with those, you should contribute to your Roth 401k plan, your Roth 403b, or your Roth 457. Your fourth bucket should be your tax-free guaranteed money, which is your personal pension plan, which I recommend using your life insurance for, which cash value life insurance. And the last but not least is real estate, and more importantly, commercial real estate, which we talked to Steve Peterson about. Right? And here's right now just a little formula just to show you guys, just diversifying your portfolio, just on the tax standpoint, what can happen. Come on in. One in the back if you like. Right?
Sign in.
Right, so with the say for instance, you just have the money the old way. And if you guys know the old way is this, you get your pension, right? put a little money in your 401k fund. This is my mother did, everybody did, right? And when you retire, you have to pay taxes on that money, right? So for instance, you're like, you know what? I want $100,000 a year. So you said, okay, I have $100,000 I'm going out from my retirement and also with my Social Security. But remember, you don't have to pay right now $25,000 in federal taxes on that money. And also, you're going to have to pay the state of California, which is the highest, second highest tax bracket after New York, which is 9.3% state taxes. So in your pocket, before all the deductions and everything else, you're going to have about $65,700 in your pocket. Well, if you diversify your portfolio where you have some money in the tax buckets, which is your Social Security, your taxable accounts, and you also have some money in your tax-free bucket before real estate, say you want $100,000, so you have $50,000 coming out of your 401k plan, your IRA, and then you have $50,000 coming out of your tax-free buckets. Well, you're only paying taxes on that $50,000 you have, which is not that much. You lower your tax bracket from being in a 28.5% tax bracket down to 15%. Then also, you're only paying $2,000 in state taxes at that point in the state of California, which means now you're only paying $40,500 you have in your pocket, which means you technically only paid about $9,000 in taxes altogether. Then if you pull out another $50,000 in your tax-free bucket, you have about $90,500 in your pocket. So just by diversifying just the tax aspect of your portfolio for retirement plan, you can save about, you can put about extra $20,000 in your pocket a year. Now, if you guys have any questions, you guys can give me a call. You can follow me on YouTube or Instagram or any other way. I hope you guys have any questions at all. And thank you.
Yeah, take 5 guys. We'll set up the new my presentation. So take a couple minutes, grab some water, some